Good morning. Call to order the June 5th, 2019 Morton Borough Council agenda meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mario Semino.
Here.
Michelle Miller. Here. Michelle Roberts. Present. Natalie Young. Robert McGrath.
Here.
John Miller.
Here.
Mayor App.
Present.
Also present, Sir Ewald, Police Chief Laspina, and Jack Darson from the Fire Department.
All right, thank you. We will have a brief executive session on a personnel and litigation matter immediately after the meeting. Next, we'll go to public comment on agenda items. If anyone would like to comment on items that are on the agenda, you can approach the podium now. Seeing no one at this time. Before we go on to our agenda topics, we've got some unfortunate bit of business to attend to. We've received a letter of resignation from our colleague Bernice Clark Dickerson. She is resigning from council due to a conflict with her county position. So we'll need to entertain that resignation letter first. So everybody has a copy of the resignation letter. We'll need a motion to accept that, and then we'll have to discuss the parameters for filling that vacancy on council.
I'll make the motion with regret to accept Bernice Clark Dickerson's resignation letter.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay. Mrs. Miller made the motion. Mrs. Roberts seconded. This is roll call. Sure. Roll call.
Mario Semino.
Yes.
Michelle Miller.
Yes.
Michelle Roberts.
Yes.
Natalie Young.
Yes.
Robert McGrath.
Yes.
John Miller.
Yes. All right, that motion carries. So, Mr. Ewald, can you remind us of the requirements for filling the council vacancy?
So council will appoint by resolution a person who is a qualified elector of the borough within the next 30 days. You have an obligation to do it in the next 30 days. If that's not completed, then it goes to the vacancy board. So it's imperative that you're diligent on the process, and I would make sure that it's on our agenda for the agenda meeting in June, which will be the 3rd.
July.
I'm sorry, July.
Okay, so I would suggest we set a date for a deadline for taking resumes from interested residents that may want to apply to fill the position. Today is the 5th, so
We've had a tradition for, I don't know, the last couple of times to have, to actually advertise for it. We can consider that?
yeah, since that's how we've been doing it, I would suggest we continue to do that. So do we need a
Do
motion?
you mean
for that?
in the Delco Times, or you mean?
How did we do it before? I thought we
We've
ran
got it on the website.
I don't think we did it
No,
on the Daily
last time,
Times.
especially last time, because I just looked it up last time, it wasn't done.
Well, I
Just on the
remember
website.
because it was when I was,
Yeah.
when it was my
There was no
time.
formal, I mean, we had a paper that we gave out if anybody was interested, but there's no formal notification of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the website would be appropriate, and I don't know if you have one of those newsletters going out this month.
So the website and Facebook, our Facebook page.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so is that the consensus that we'll advertise it on the website and the borough Facebook page? Do we need a motion for that?
No.
No.
The question for the solicitor.
Mr. Mayor App.
Yes. So Bernice was up for election this coming November. So if we appoint someone before the election, it would just be till the election, and how does that work?
Correct, you're only, anytime that you appoint someone to fill a vacancy, it's for the unexpired term of that vacancy, unless it's at the very beginning, and then it's until the next municipal election, I don't know, it's like within 90 or 180 days, I can't remember.
Because hers is a special election that is up as mine is, because she was also appointed, right?
Right.
So would we have to have someone run in November?
Yes. And she is on the ballot in November, so she will have to work with the election board to remove herself from the ballot, and
Someone else would do it.
someone else will have to be placed.
They would have to get the proper petition and things like that in order to get on the ballot.
That's a party process at this point.
Right. Yes.
So, I would have to look up the actual process, I don't know off the top of my head, but
Okay.
the party's responsible for nominees and fill that place on the ballot.
Thank you.
So, just to be clear on that, these are two different things. Appointing somebody really is appointing until next election, and then let anybody else run for office, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Well, because we're past the primary, the party that she was elected as a member on the ballot for would go through the procedure to replace her on the ballot. So it can't be just, it could be anybody, but it's not that you can just stand up and nominate yourself.
No, I understand. Nor would I.
Any other,
I think so.
any other questions? So we need to set a date for resumes to be received by, so we want to say Wednesday, 2 weeks from now. That would be Wednesday, the 19th,
Not much time.
close of business. And that gives us 2 weeks to vet the applicants.
Is that the deadline for anyone
That wants to
applying?
put in an application. Is everybody?
We have to vote on the third then.
Yes.
Okay.
Or sooner.
We wanted to have a special meeting.
Technically, her letter's dated the 30th, and we didn't receive it till today.
Because you accepted the resignation,
Okay, so that date,
it takes effect.
Okay.
The deadline's today.
thank you.
Okay.
All right, is everybody okay with the 19th for the resumes? For applications? Then, do we want to schedule an interview date for the applicants? That's what we typically do.
Do you want to have
I'm
an
scheduling an interview date for the applicants.
Any date's good for me, after the 19th.
So we want to do the following, that Thursday, the following Tuesday, Wednesday, we might be, depending on people's availability, to nights.
Yeah, I would prefer the Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 25th.
25th.
25th?
Providence Road.
And can we have Wednesday as a backup, or are people not available Wednesday?
Yeah, I get it.
Today's the 5th. Well, they should have the,
It's fine with me.
they should have the results.
All right, Mr. Poole, so you've got that, applications due Wednesday, the 19th, interviews the 25th,
We
and
didn't-
Wednesday, the 26th is the
Right, we
backup.
didn't designate a time.
7 o'clock. Anything else we need to do on that? All right, with that completed, we'll go on to, and I want to thank Mrs. Dickerson for her service for the last year and a half on council, her diligent service. That's that. agenda topics, public buildings and infrastructure. Mrs. Miller, please.
Good evening. The only thing I have is that yesterday we did accept, we opened the bids for the Providence Road traffic calming project. 3 packets were picked up, 2 were returned to us. I suggest that we accept the one from A.F. Damon Inc., which came in at $12,116.25, versus the one from JMC Concrete, which came in at $39,437.50. We deal with Damon a lot, so we know the quality of their work, for one thing. Also, this came in about half under what Mr. Catania had projected it could cost. So if everyone has you have a copy of it in front of you. If not, I can pass one down. This covers the speed humps, the speed hump signs, the paving markings, the double yellow center line, the crosswalk, the stop bar, and the slow curve arrow. Does anybody have any questions?
Did they accept it?
No? So I would like to make a motion then that we accept the bid from A.F. Damon Inc. in the amount of $12,116.25 for the Providence Road traffic calming project.
Could you do that next?
Well, typically, we would do it at the regular council
Okay.
meeting, but given the expediency with which we want to get the project underway, we're not barred from.
No, but I mean, just to let you know, there was no recommendation yet from the engineer.
Oh, okay.
Because he received it yesterday, and they were going through the paperwork to make sure that
Okay.
everything was in
Make sure
place.
that-
So
Well,
that's why I
then
wanted
I
to
will
caution.
rescind
Yeah.
my projected
Okay.
motion.
Yeah.
We'll do it next
So
week.
I just want to make
Okay.
sure, like I said, because we didn't receive an official recommendation from them yet.
Okay.
Everything seemed to be okay, but they usually investigate just to make sure.
So-
Especially when you have the divergent figures.
Have we accepted any?
What's that?
We could-
Well, I mean, you can, but I'm saying, it's, usually you have a engineer's recommendation.
We could accept the low bid contingent upon the engineer's
Accepted.
Confirmation that it meets the qualifications of the bid. That's what you want.
I mean, I don't see any downside to that. Do you see any downside to that? Mr.
No, I mean, that's why I wanted to caution you about, just, yeah, I mean, as long as it's conditional on that, that's fine with me, but yeah.
Well, I would suggest, Mrs. Miller,
I'll remake the motion.
yeah, with that condition, that
Okay. I would like to make a motion that we accept A.F. Damon Inc.'s bid for the Providence Road traffic calming project in the amount of $12,116.25 upon consideration of any comments by our engineer, Charles Catania.
That the engineer would verify that the bid meets the specifications.
Okay, that Mr. Catania verifies that the bid meets all the specifications that are necessary.
I second.
all right, Mr. Miller made this, Miller seconded the motion. Any questions on the motion as it's been made?
Yeah.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mary Estimino,
Yes.
Michelle Miller,
Yes.
Michelle Roberts,
Yes.
Natalie Young,
Yes.
Bob McGrath, John Miller.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Mrs. Miller?
That's all that I have right now.
Okay. Mr. Poole, do you have anything on finance and administration at this time?
No, nothing at this time, we'll have the reports next week, but
Okay.
yes, nothing on this week.
Any other members of council, any business on finance and administration? All right, hearing none. Go on to public safety, Mr. Miller.
Good evening. I don't have anything to report tonight. I'll have something on next week. I also have some information to report on our fire department. What's going on there. I don't know if it's appropriate to bring it up now, or we'll just deal with that. We'll let the fire department deal with that situation, whatever we have to deal with.
They don't have
As
any
far as the
comments.
councils, with our end of the deal. Other than that, I have nothing.
Mr. President, did you want to present anything?
Yeah, basically, Chief Reef
had an accident approximately 5 weeks ago with the command vehicle. During the investigation, it turned out that his license had been suspended due to medical reasons, and he never reported it to the company. So he was disciplined by the fire company, which took effect or was finalized this past Monday night, so he's under suspension with the fire company at this time. And at the same time, he has turned in a resignation for his position as chief for him to work on his medical condition and so on and so forth. Right now, Don Holstein is deputy chief, and he is basically in command from the fire end of things right now. At the company meeting on Monday night, his resignation letter will be read and probably accepted. At that point, then we start the process of filling in for a new chief. So that position will be voted on in our July meeting. So, but Don will be
Really?
running things to that point, and in all likelihood will be moved into the chief position to finish out Chris's term for the rest of the year. The vehicle, again, we insured, so there should be no liability on council's end. No one was injured, so that's a good thing too. And we're right now negotiating with Pareca and our insurance company as to repairs and or replacement of the vehicle. So, any other questions? Anybody?
Questions?
How badly was the car hit, damaged?
Initial estimate was $6,000. Insurance reduced it down to $5,000 using cheaper parts. But now that they've taken it apart, they found approximately another $2,000 worth of damage. So we're in the negotiation plan.
Right.
More than likely, we're just going to replace it. Even if they don't total it out, we're probably going to turn it over to Pareca, and we're going to purchase a new command vehicle because there were some other issues that we were starting to have with it. So at this point, it may be worthwhile financially to take the insurance money and buy a new vehicle.
It was an older vehicle, or?
It was a 2006, I believe it is. Very low mileage, but again, there was some mechanical issues that were starting to creep up. And now, if you start using the cheaper parts, then it becomes an issue, doesn't start nickeling and diming us. So we found another one already, actually a slightly larger vehicle. We're going to Ford Expedition. So it'll seat more people if need be and whatnot. So a little bit more roomy for what we need it for. So,
I just wanted to, given the delay in communications here, and I'm not sure, what all caused that, but just reiterate, any significant developments this week, would expect that, myself as council president would be notified.
yeah, I apologize. I was
Mr.
informed that you guys were notified of the accident and any potential problems that might arise from that. That's what I was told from the get-go. And then, again, part of the delay is through the investigation. We needed to do a complete investigation before we released any kind of information. And unfortunately, in that process, we failed to follow one of our procedures, so we had to
We're on the
redo.
same page as far as, council being informed.
Yeah.
Like this happened.
But I apologize for that.
Along with Mr. Poole.
I was told that you guys were notified, so, and that's again, I apologize for that. We will be, we're taking some other steps too, to correct some of the deficiencies that came out of this. Yeah, we're gonna start doing yearly license checks, which probably get with you to discuss how we can do that. Yeah, well, we're gonna start doing that so that we try to circumvent this again from somebody else having the same issue again. Again, my apologies. We will do a better job of making sure you guys know.
Thank you. And before you leave, tonight, we'll exchange information.
Absolutely,
Okay?
absolutely.
All right.
All right? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Poole, I think we need to issue an updated emergency contact list with all the fire company's contacts, fire marshal, and I'm not sure that we've done that this year.
I don't think this year, we did it last year now, because it was an update to the emergency.
But also, all council members.
Right.
The fire company has it, can get in touch with us when they need to. Okay, thank you. Community and economic development, Mr. McGrath, please.
Okay, so, I got two things here on my list. Okay, update on Morton Day. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, the committee, and, because we were discussing 4th of July and, the newsletter, and, didn't really get a lot out of that meeting. We're gonna have to have another meeting. We're collecting information as we move along, and then we'll organize it soon enough. That's all it is. Now, as far as the 4th of July, I don't see anybody here. This is a bit of an issue, considering we've only got a month before 4th of July. Mr. Mayor, you know anything about this?
I do not know.
All right, well, given that, given the conversation last month, this was pretty much the deadline if we were gonna go ahead with the parade. I think we could give it till next week as to having an event here, but I think, I don't see that we can accommodate the logistics of having a parade beyond tonight.
I don't either.
If I can add just one thing, as I was out painting the arrows on the course we run, I did run into Ryan, and he's the fellow who wanted to spearhead. And he said he has put a bunch of stuff together for a parade and other events after the parade. So I explained to him, well, he has to get back to you as to what's going on so you can know. So that's what I do know.
Well, we have to go by what we have or don't have now. We don't have anything, so, we don't, do you agree, Chief?
I'm gonna have to assign
Yeah.
people.
We have no track record with him, so we don't really, it's not like we can give him the benefit of the doubt, because
Right.
we just don't know. Good or bad, we don't know, but we do know that he hasn't shown up tonight.
So, being that we do know that, now I will reach out to him.
Okay.
Okay, and see if he has any information regarding if it's gonna really go through. And if he is, I ask that he will come next week.
Not for the parade, for an event
Right.
here, only for an event here.
Okay.
We're declaring that it's too late to
Yeah,
organize
it's too late for
the
that.
parade.
Like I said, we don't know what all he's done in his organization as far as getting prepared, so that's why I'm gonna find out what all he gathered.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so, at this point, we will still stay open to considering an event on the 4th of July, a non-parade event section. You see where anybody has to show up at the next meeting
And give us the full plan.
and give us the
Yeah.
full plan.
If not, we can't approve it.
Right, it comes down to that, okay? So, and Mrs. Roberts is gonna reach out and clarify that, okay? Down to the last minute.
Whatever.
Okay, that's it. Any questions on anything?
Do you plan on having another meeting?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yes, I meant to state that we'll have to have another meeting. I guess I could set it up now, then. Who's in the committee? You're in.
Who's on your committee?
good for you? A week from tonight?
All right, well, a week from tonight would be.
Oh, the borough meeting.
Right, our
Oh.
meeting.
You can meet this Wednesday.
I was thinking
You're going
this-
to anyway.
All right, but, yeah, that's the right thing.
How about Tuesday?
It's fine with me. I just know I won't be around July 4th, so all that will be on everybody else.
Okay, so Tuesday night, we'll have a meeting specifically about the Morton Day. And that'll be Tuesday at 7. So, we want to advertise that? Probably should advertise that. So it's an official meeting. Okay?
Okay, did we get that?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. All right.
All right, thank you. Public health and sanitation, Mrs. Roberts, please.
Yes, good evening. I'm excited to let all our residents know that our containers on the one vendor that we did contact, there were several vendors. Tentatively, we plan on meeting on the 19th, June 19th, the recycling committee here at 7 p.m. And we have 3 containers in the front. There's the blue, that's a 20-gallon. There's the red, that's a 25-gallon, and the yellow is a 32-gallon. So we will have to consider what's going to fall within the range of our grant. We'll have to consider the number of containers that we'll get. We'll have to consider if we want to get lids. We'll have to consider our markings. So these are the things that we have to come together as a committee to bring to council our recommendation on which container.
Are we allowed to bring Coke on as a sponsor? That would help.
Oh, that most definitely would help.
I've never seen that before. That's the first time I've seen that, as part of a recycling.
When does your committee meet?
The committee's gonna meet June 19th here at 7 p.m.
And is it just open to general community members?
So, with that said, like I said, those are the things that we have to consider as we go with the grant and what the funds are available, the number of residents that we're going to be able to get. And hopefully the rollout of when we plan on getting these delivered will be on our community day in October. So with the vendor that we're utilizing, they have guaranteed that we can make that time frame. Also, I've been informed that, and I'm going to ask Mr. Poole in reference to BNL and some issues that have.
Oh, yeah,
surfaced.
again, it's some issues that B&L is experiencing. Republic had taken over the, I was gonna say transfer station, but the yard down in Grays Ferry where our recycling was taken. They have, as of, I guess, February, closed that facility. So all recycling material must now go up to King of Prussia. So B&L had at that time come and asked if they could, first of all, commingle with other communities, since they weren't going to take like a half or a quarter of a truck all the way up to King of Prussia and come back, which I noted to them in the contract. It says no, that there can be no commingling, that it's just ours, And then the second issue they had was basically the same that they've been bringing up, is to make sure that everyone knows what is recyclable these days, which we have no problem with, So just to let you know, we were approached again, I guess maybe 2 months ago and then a month ago, and I finally just said to them, you need to put in writing what your request is, because any request to change the contract would have to be in writing and council would have to approve. So they brought forward, it's not really a proposal, it's basically just explaining the situation and saying they would still like to commingle, the material. So that's right now, it's with the recycling committee, but it's the idea that, the agreement that we have distinctly says that there is no commingling right now. So, and that's what, they would be the ones that would somehow formulate with each load how much each community had in that specific truck. So on a weight ticket, it would show, whatever, 40% for, so.
Whatever they say.
Correct. I mean, there's no scientific, it would just be an eyeballing, okay, well, right.
We don't know if that would meet the requirements for
No, in fact, it's funny because the day that we got the information, I got word that our recycling coordinator in Delaware County had resigned.
That's Sarah Nelson.
Correct. But I did put a feeler out to PA DEP, just to see if they could provide anything from their end to make sure that we were covered there also. But if I don't find anybody that I can contact locally, I'll go just to solid waste and ask them if they can just give us, any kind of input, so. But yeah, we'll figure that out. But again, I mean, there's no, it again is a problem that B&L is experiencing because of the market. It's nothing that we've done. We've not changed anything. Everything is still the same, but they want to be able, obviously, to make it more cost effective on their end. But again, and I pointed that out to you, in the contract, again, I did not add the italics because it's put in there, that the idea is that once the recyclable is picked up, it's up to that company to get rid of it, in a proper manner approved by us. But if there's any profit to be made or any loss at that point, it's all on them.
Right.
So, I mean, that's, because they're trying to avoid that obviously by commingling. But right, that puts us in a dilemma with not knowing exactly how much we're recycling.
All right, those are the issues at hand, and I just want to confirm, as far as our June 19th meeting, I'm not sure, is there zoning, is there anything with zoning?
So at that meeting, I would suggest we start the discussion of potential options for the next contract, because that's going to come up. We're going to have to do that in the fall, correct?
Well, no, I mean, understand, and we're getting to that time period, because I said to wait till about half year. We are in the 4th year of a 4-year contract, but there was an additional 5th year, or I'm sorry, no, it was a 3-year with an additional 4th year. So we have the option, within 30 days of the expiration of the contract, basically just to write them a letter to say that we want to extend it for that additional year. So I don't want to call it a luxury, but you do have that, where you have an additional year that you can, that's already been bid on.
Okay.
So.
With both companies?
And when is that time?
At the end of the
And
year.
towards the, so you
Right.
have to do it sometime in November to be sure that
Right,
you know.
okay.
But that's the only requirement, is that you inform them that you're taking that option on that 4th year.
But I think because this market with the recycling is doing so bad that everybody now is wavering and trying to jump ship off of this.
So that's what it is, as I said, that was about mid-year. I said that's when you want to start to discuss that part of it as to how you want to proceed, but you do have that option.
So there's no other questions, that ends my report.
Law and ordinance, Mrs. Yoder.
Good evening. So, the first thing, well, I'm gonna make, there was an item that wasn't already on the agenda, which I'm gonna make that the first item, which is we need to ratify a workers' comp settlement, and Mr. Eagle.
Right. So you had a part-time police officer go out on workers' comp a while ago. The workers' comp insurance company has reached a settlement with him, and it does not implicate you paying any additional money. At this point, we'd be looking for a motion to approve the settlement with former part-time officer David Smith.
We should actually, because we didn't have that on the agenda. Is there any public comment on that agenda item?
Do you all disclose the amount of what the settlement is?
We can, yeah, it's
125 total.
Yeah, it's $125,000 for the permanent.
And that's part of the insurance that you
The
all
insurance
keep
company pays
with
that.
the police department.
Let me just get your
That's
name and
under
address.
the police.
Get your name and address for the record, please. since you're-
Sure, my name is HIGHLAND, I live at 231 Walnut Street. So my question was, this is under the insurance policy, the workman's contracted insurance company, and you said it doesn't cost you all any additional fees nor premium, or increase in premiums or change to the terms?
It shouldn't. We
We don't know
have a
that it's-
deductible, and I think it's like $2,500, which we would have already met.
For workers' comp, no.
There's no
No,
deductible.
no,
So,
it's-
no,
But
there's.
we don't know that it won't affect our premium.
Yeah, we can't anticipate the future of,
But we have no previous track record, which would
Right.
also impact if you had several in the past, so I mean, that's what, yeah, so I don't anticipate there being any.
and the fact that it's settled doesn't really implicate the premium. It's the instance of it that does.
How many, yeah.
And so, yeah, we can't predict how it might impact future premiums. But the guy was hurt. Yeah, we can't.
Uh-huh. Are you able to disclose, or is that private?
I don't want to go into his physical injuries, you know.
No, like how he was hurt. Was he like shot, fell,
Tackling the
hit by a
suspect.
car? I'm sorry.
Tackling the suspect.
Thank you.
Mrs. Young?
Can I get the full name of the gentleman?
David Smith.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the settlement, the workers' compensation settlement, for Officer David Smith.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any questions on the motion as it's been made? Hearing none. Roll call. Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Mrs. Young?
So the second item that I had is I want to schedule a committee meeting, and I'm just curious because Mrs. Dickerson was on the committee. Does that affect anything? We are one member down with regard to scheduling a meeting.
Two is a quorum of committees.
Right. Okay. So then I was proposing June 20th. Mr. Booker, for you.
Yeah, sorry.
I think it's Monday, June 20th. It was Monday. And I was thinking at 6 p.m. It's a Thursday. That's good. All right, so I'd like to propose that that would be our meeting date, and we can get that advertised.
Thursday, the 20th?
Thursday, the 20th at 6 p.m. That would be here. I assume there's no conflict. No. And that's really all I have.
All right, thank you. Parks and Recreation, Mayor Adam.
Thank you, Mario. So, first thing I want to talk about tonight is the success of our Morton Borough 5K. So, thanks to all our residents for their cooperation and understanding with everything concerning the race. We did it again, Morton. It's a good thing. We showed that we can do these kind of things, so it's very good. Just some facts about the race. Last year we had 60 participants. This year we doubled that. We had 124 participants. So that was very good. And so next year, maybe 200. And the good news is nothing like this happens without a lot of work from people in the community.
And
Especially
certainly
our-
on you, sir.
Correct.
Well, thank you.
Certainly is.
Thank you. Especially the 40 community volunteers. That's just tremendous. So I wanted to thank each and every one of those volunteers. And I will as time goes by. The approximate cost, I'll have a final report next month, so I'm still waiting for bills to come in from different companies. But the approximate cost of the race was $2,700. And we're looking approximate profit from the work I've done so far, somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 we should profit for our Parks and Recreation.
Excellent.
So that's good news. So I wanted to thank the Morton Police Department. Thank you, Chief, for everything you did to help us with the race. The Springfield Ambulance, who stepped in at the last minute to help us out. Our other ambulance company could not do it. I wanted to thank the Morton Wawa, who supplied all the food and beverages for the race. What a terrific job they did. T&D Gym, located in Morton, did our warm-ups with our runners. I wanted to thank them. I want to thank all the local businesses for their donations and for prizes. And I want to thank State Rep Jennifer O'Mara for being our official starter that day. She was thrilled to start the race. She just wanted to let that horn blow. And, you know, over the 4 months that I've been planning this, I couldn't have done it without the help of the borough. And those two people who I work with directly are Bob Poole. Thank you, Bob, so much.
You're welcome.
And Marty Preston. Thank you so much for helping me. Putting letters out and doing everything you did, have all the supplies they needed. That was great.
Make it very easy, so.
And of course, I have to thank the First Lady of Morton, my wife,
There you go.
for allowing me to do this and for all the help she gave me and encouragement to get this done. Thank you, Lucy. Next year, we'll start the ball rolling again. Next year's date, or the first Saturday in June, is June 6th. So that's next year. And then I wanted to go into some other news, okay? So we still have a lot of new committee members. I do not see anyone here tonight. Rodina will be a new committee member for Parks and Recreation Committee. So I'm excited about some of the people who have said they want to join. Hopefully by July, or by our next meeting, which is June 17th, Monday at 7 p.m. here at Borough Hall, we will have some of these people show up and get started planning next year.
Can you give us that list of the new committee
Yes,
members to rally?
I sure can. Yep. And I wanted to talk about the Sycamore Woods project that we said we're having some trees removed, and we contracted with Skyline Tree, and I talked to the owner today, and they have that project scheduled, and I don't know the exact date, but it's probably coming up in the next couple of weeks, that they'll work on our Sycamore Woods project. Our basketball backboard, so I was talking to Bob, and I believe Bob has that on the docket for the
Actually
next week. Or the
We've got a
week
couple
after.
dates, so rain, and no kind of, so it'll be either the end of next week or the beginning of the following week. So we've got a couple dates with the.
So we'll have some good backboards put up at Jacobs Park to replace the ones that are broken.
So it'll be up by the 4th, okay?
Yes, yes.
The other thing that I'm working on is Morton Night at the Phillies. I'm thinking of sometime in August. I haven't come up with a date yet, but this will be a night for Morton to go out. We need at least 25 people to be considered as a group with the Phillies. So I'll look into that, see how we can purchase the tickets, and then start having residents in the borough purchase them, so we can have a Morton Night at the Phillies. And the last thing I want to talk about, Parks and Recreation, is our ball field next to the firehouse is ready, as lacrosse season is over now. So I was able to put the bases down, raked everything out. It really looks good right now. So if you have little ones that are interested in baseball, you want to take them over the field and play some ball, I think they'll enjoy the facilities over there. And that's all I have as far as Parks and Recreation.
Thank you.
Did you say a possible date for Morton Night at the Phillies? Were you saying
I
August?
didn't say a possible date yet. I'm going to look into it, see when they're home, and see when we can get tickets.
No, he didn't say a date. He didn't.
But I'm looking at sometime in August.
Possible.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Can we get your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Mavis. I'm a minister. I live in at the Springfield Green.
What was your last name?
Joyce, Joas.
Okay, thank you.
And I called the board to see if I can use the park to evangelize. And they told me, they advised me of the meeting tonight. And that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Should I do?
Which park are you interested in?
I don't even know which one.
We have Jacobs Park,
Okay.
and then we also have the facilities surrounding this building.
Okay.
So what kind of activity are you looking for?
To evangelize.
Okay, evangelism. So, excuse me, Marty,
Yes.
if she were to, wanted to hold this event on one of our parks, does she touch base with you and give some paper, get some
I told her
paperwork?
she had to get approval from council, but yes, they'll have to fill out an application.
Okay,
It's a church
so
thing.
we'd have to get approval.
I mean, it's no different than any other event. So,
She has to fill out the rental
Right.
form and to inform us of the date.
Right.
Then you just have to look at it to see whether or not it needs any insurance coverage or anything, depending on what your activity is.
How many people are you expecting?
I don't know, I just want to evangelize. Okay, yeah.
Okay, very good, very good.
All right, so are we clear on that? I don't think we're handling it as any other use of the
No,
park,
it's
so
fine.
any further action from council? So you'll go back to Mrs. Preston and she'll.
So visit the Borough
do the
Hall.
application.
And Marty will help you.
Marty will help you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for.
Thank you. Anything on planning and zoning?
No.
Any old business from members of council? New business from members of council?
Yes. Well, I'm not a member of council, but I do have.
Mayor
I just wanted to remind everyone that Nancy and I will attend the Pennsylvania Association of Boroughs Conference this coming week. It's going to be in Hershey, starting on Sunday. And on Monday of that week, we will visit with Jennifer O'Mara in Harrisburg. We're taking a trip to Harrisburg and meet with her. But my main plan is to act as a delegate for the council here. And also, my plan is to talk to as many people as I can to promote our town. All right, so that's my mission while I'm at the conference.
Anything else? All right, thanks. Any other new business? All right, we'll go to open discussion. Anybody wish to address council from the public? Mr. Lee first.
Good evening, Michael Lee, 123 West Sylvan Avenue, Morton, Pennsylvania. I just want to express my appreciation and thanks for Mrs. Dickerson's time of service on the council. I wish her well in her future endeavors. Thank you for listening. Good night. May God bless all of you.
Thank you, Mike.
Mrs. Clayton.
I'll be nice. Donna Claiborne, 212 Walnut Street, Mortonville. I just have a quick question. There's a house in my road, 202 Walnut Street. The grass is this high, it's faded, nobody lives there. Is there any problem about just cutting grass? Does anybody care?
Just to let you know, no, just to let you know, in fact, this week, we were informed again by the neighbors that they kept calling, so I reached out yesterday, I guess, to our engineer's office, and we had a conference call this morning. I passed the information along to our solicitor too, just to make sure we were covered, because 2 notices have gone out, or 2 letters, I'm sorry, have gone out, that they were in violation. Now it's in the process of being cited, but that's what we're seeing at this point, whether we can take that step. So that's where we are. We're very much aware of it, and that's going to be the next step, is to try and, based on the information we now have that shows that we've kind of done our due diligence, we'll go from there, so.
That the borough would cut the grass?
Well, somehow, that's what I reached out to Kyle.
I really don't mind, I mean, I cut
No,
off-
don't.
To answer your
No,
question-
no.
To answer your question directly, we can't give you permission
No.
to mow someone else's lawn. Technically, it's trespassing. and
Okay.
If you were to get hurt,
Right.
But, but
Yeah.
certainly, hopefully we can force the owner to do so.
Well, it's a
How long has
hazardous-
it been vacant?
Oh,
It's over a year.
A couple of years it's been
it's been
vacant.
a while.
Somebody cut it last year a couple of times, I don't know
We
who cut it
found
last.
somebody.
Yeah, I was gonna
last
say,
year,
there was
but
actually somebody who
finished
came out,
this year.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, on
Causing
behalf of the
hazardous-
owner, or behalf of the property came out and cut it. We found someone, but we can't get to them anymore, so that's the problem.
If it's causing a hazardous situation, we can have the borough maintenance staff go in and cut it,
Well,
correct?
that's what we were doing today, was
We can
making
leave
sure
the
we
property
covered all of our
and-
bases, so that we could do that and not have them come back and say, we didn't know about it, right?
Let's do that with all, deliberate speed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Anyone else wish to address council? All right, seeing, Mrs. Highland.
I just had, I just had really 2 questions about the Providence Road traffic calming. I was wondering about the funding. Is that state funding, federal funding, grant funding?
Borough funding mostly.
Liquid fuels, which is state funding, basically, in the long run, because
That
it's money we
flows-
get from the state.
Flows through the borough. It's funding that the borough gets from the state that we can use for road projects.
And then, was there a traffic study done,
Yes.
a speed study done? When was that?
That was done earlier
Earlier
this year.
February.
and-
It's been ongoing for about a year now.
It was early this year.
Right, but it's been ongoing for several years.
Yeah.
They had complained a few years ago, we did a traffic study then, and did a few things, and then this year, the night of, whatever night it was during the Eagles playoffs, there was a serious accident. It was a car chase, it was a criminal activity. And then, since then, another traffic study was done, PennDOT has to be brought in, and so on and so forth. Everything was done according to how it's supposed to be done.
And then if the speed study, is that public information?
Yes.
Do you have access to that? How does one
You want to get a copy of it? Mr. Cole would have a copy of it.
Yeah, the office.
Okay. The front office has it.
And then my question is, how does one get a study for Walnut Street? This has been my ongoing concern every time I come back.
So we did a study on Walnut Street 2 years ago,
When?
and it didn't meet the warrants.
And I think I asked for that study. Is that
Yeah.
also
Yeah,
available?
you get a copy of it.
And that was 2 years ago in 2017?
I don't remember the actual date, but I
It
know
might
what
be a little
this-
longer than that, but I have the study. You can just request it through Secretary for Open Records and we'll supply it.
Is there any way I can get that before next week's meeting?
You come to the police station and make a request.
Okay, just come up tomorrow between 8 and 4 and request it, and I can shoot it
between
tomorrow.
9 and 3.
Right to know request.
And you said you think it was 2 or 3 years ago? Okay. Because, as I've said several times, you know, there were several young children on the street, on that street. There are not, you know, heavy setbacks there. And there just continues to be not only an issue in terms of the amount of traffic, but the speed of the traffic, the aggression of the drivers. It continues to be a consistent concern on Walnut Street. Like I said, as the mother of a young child, many multiple children, I invite all council members who don't live there, please come on a Saturday or come on a Monday between 8 and, matter of fact, 7 and 10. Come between 4 and 6. There's also a big concern because that is a street where there are multiple bus stops. The SLC bus stop is there, the Sable bus stop, the ETR bus stop, as well as the high school bus stop. So you have large amounts of children that are crossing those streets between all 4 blocks between the hours of 6:30 to the last bus at 8:30. I recently had someone who zoomed around a stop sign, but a stop bus at the corner of Walnut and School Street while the bus was stopped on the one side, and they pulled around from Walnut, totally ignored the stop sign. You know, in terms of the number of the kids and the age of the kids, I just feel like there definitely needs to be something addressed. So I will request those studies. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Excuse me.
Yes.
What block is the biggest problem? You
All
say?
of them. I would.
As far as-
All of them,
as far as
but I
speed-
would
as
say
far as speed.
definitely when you hit, right as you're coming out of Springfield, because they have that long.
So between Newell and
Newell and school.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have that really long.
Your guys were working tonight, though. They
That's
were
good to hear.
stopping lots of people tonight.
Good to hear.
I could say that I noticed mostly in our community during the rush hour, those hours, because I even knew, yes, I noticed on my street, on Broad Street, people just flying through that stop sign right on the corner of Broad and Maple. They don't, and it's like, you can see the stop sign, but they just have the determination to fly through it. So I would caution that somebody around those peak hours to be in the area, especially people that don't live in our community, that I believe, once again, Morton is a town you have to go through to get to where you want to go.
But what is a shortcut for us is for many is home for us. It's where we raise our kids, it's where we live. It's, you know, so I try to be mindful even when I'm going through other areas. You know, to be mindful of residential areas. I don't care if I'm in Wallingford, Swarthmore, or West Philadelphia. It only takes a second for a child to run after a ball or not be able to stop their bike. So it's, you know, people still have to respect that this is our community.
Anyone else for open discussion? Okay. Seeing no one else.
Hold on.
No, sorry.
Rodina from 6th Street. I know there is a children at play sign at Maple and Broad, but it's behind the actual phone pole. So until you like get up on it, that's when you're like children at play. Is there one we can put between, I guess when people come down from Walnut and like Woodland Avenue, if there could be another at play sign on the opposite side, or at least switch it to like Broad and School, Baker and School, so that people, because even though it's at dead end at that area, even though there's a stop sign on the property sometimes, and I know the police chief has come past and a couple of the people that he's caught them
speeding completely through, and there's like 30 kids. You know, I have 5, a girl in the corner at that dead end, she has 8. You know, there's a lot of babies, especially grandchildren that have been frequently, you know, living across or around, but I think there needs to be another children at play sign somewhere as somebody's coming down school towards Baker and Broad.
Where's it at now?
It's, Baker, Baker in school. If there can be a stop sign coming.
Where's it now, Perdina? Where is it located now?
It's at Maple and Broad. It's like right behind that telephone pole.
Maple and Broad is at now.
Yeah.
Well, signage is something that we can look at regardless.
Should we switch it to the opposite side? Because I know, I mean, the 2 could be fine, but I'm just saying, people like to come through at all types of hours, especially lunch, you know, especially when kids are getting off or at traffic time.
I would suggest we look at the signage regardless.
Yeah.
Something you'll want to add.
Thank you.
So Rodina,
Yes.
stay right there if you can. While Rodina's up here, I just want to thank her for all the work she's done working with Bob to get our cable station up and running again. Thank you so much for the hours you're putting in. It's great to see the something on cable.
Handling some of the techier parts that I'm not able, so we complete each other in the fact that, you know, we're doing this as a
It's the
team.
Lloyd project.
It's the Lloyd project, and we're working it. Mr. Bob, he's been an excellent, you know, just an excellent, as a mentor for me to like really, you know, get the ball running and fill in gaps where he was not able to, you know.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
I just want to say that Medina shot the video, and she and her husband edited the video, and we were able to have it up on the TV channel the same day, which was pretty amazing for us. And we weren't even, and none of us were even in the studio to do any of this, which was amazing. We all did it remotely. So, I'm really glad Regina's involved with this. I think we're gonna come with this.
Thank you.
So, we do have the vacancy on council, so some of our active, you know, members of the community might consider putting in an application for the council vacancy. With that, we do have a brief executive session after the meeting, and is there a motion to adjourn?
Just for the record, we'll be discussing the employment, litigation, and real estate matters.